Hi, my name is Reets. Tonight I'm going to read you the story of Beauty and the Beast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what stories you would like to hear next. Sweet dreams! Once upon a time, a very rich merchant lived in a busy town with his 6 children. He had 3 sons and 3 daughters. Because he was wise, he paid for good teachers so his children could learn music, reading, numbers, and good manners. His youngest daughter was the gentlest of them all. When she was little, everyone called her Little Beauty because she was so sweet and so lovely. As she grew older, people simply called her Beauty. Her older sisters did not like this one bit. Jealousy pricked them like tiny thorns. Beauty's sisters loved dresses, parties, and fancy shops. They would stand at the mirror for ages and brag about their jewelry. They refused to visit other merchants' daughters, and they only wanted to see people who were very rich or had grand houses. Beauty was different. She carried baskets for the servants. She spoke kindly to the people in the town. She loved reading good stories and playing music more than she loved new clothes. When rich merchants came to ask for her hand in marriage, she thanked them politely, yet said she wished to stay with her father for a few more years. Her older sisters dreamed of marrying a duke or an earl or maybe a prince. They laughed behind their hands when Beauty said she would rather stay at home than chase rich husbands. Let her have her books, they whispered. We will have ball gowns. One day, everything changed. The merchant lost all of his money. A terrible storm had wrecked his ships at sea. Debts piled up. At last, he owned only a small house far away in the countryside. With tears in his eyes, he said to his children, We must leave town. We must go to the country and work for our living. The 2 older sisters cried out in horror. They could not imagine life without music in the streets, new shoes in shop windows, and fine visitors. They claimed their rich admirers would surely still marry them. They pictured themselves at balls with new husbands who paid all the bills. They were wrong. When the merchant became poor, those admirers disappeared as quickly as smoke in the wind. People in town shook their heads. They said the sisters had never been kind, so no one pitied them. Yet everyone felt sorry for Beauty because she had always been polite and helpful. Some gentlemen even offered to marry her, although now she had no money. Beauty refused them all. I cannot leave my father in his trouble, she said. I must go with him and help him. Soon the whole family moved to the little farmhouse. The merchant and his 3 sons worked in the fields. They chopped wood and planted crops. Beauty woke up at 4 in the morning. On the very first day she burned the porridge and dropped a bucket of water on her foot. Yet she refused to give up. At first her hands were soft and weak, but work rubbed blisters on her fingers and made her shoulders ache. Yet within 2 months she grew strong and healthy. Her cheeks turned rosy from the fresh air. When her chores were finished, she sat by the small window to read, to sing, or to play a little tune while she spun thread. Her sisters refused to work. They slept late, then wandered around complaining. They missed their fancy clothes and city friends. They called Beauty foolish because she did not complain and tried to stay cheerful. Their father saw the truth. He knew Beauty had a kind heart and a brave mind. He admired her patience and hard work, although her sisters often mocked her. After a year on the farm, a letter arrived. One of the merchant's old ships had reached harbor at last. The letter said that some of his goods had been saved. At once the older sisters were sure they would return to city life. They begged their father for new gowns, jewelry, and little bottles of perfume. Beauty stayed quiet. She knew the ship might not bring much money. She did not want to add to her father's problems. Before he left, he asked, "Beauty, what would you like me to bring you?" Beauty smiled. "If you are kind enough to think of me, please bring me a single rose. None grow here, so it would be special." She did not really care about having a flower. She simply did not want her sisters to say she asked for nothing in order to look better than they did. The merchant went to the city. Sadly, he discovered that people argued with him about his goods. Some refused to pay, some lied. After many days, he saw that he would not gain back his fortune. Tired and disappointed, he started the long journey home. On his way back, he traveled through a dark forest. The wind grew strong. Snow and cold rain fell in hard, slanting lines that stung his face. He lost his way among the tall trees. Wolves howled in the distance, long and low like rusty hinges in the dark. His horse slipped on the icy path, and he feared he would die from cold and hunger out there under the rain. At last he saw a light shining far away, one small square of gold in all that black. He followed it until he reached a great castle with many windows lit from top to bottom. He called out, yet no one answered. His horse walked into an open stable where clean hay and oats waited. The poor animal began to eat at once. The merchant stepped into a large hall. A bright fire burned in the fireplace and snapped little sparks into the air. A table stood in the center with a fine hot supper ready for one person. Since no one appeared, he said softly, "The owner will forgive me, I hope. I am freezing and starving." He warmed himself by the fire. After waiting a long time, he could not resist the food any longer. He ate some chicken and bread, then drank a little wine. Still no one came. At last he walked through several beautiful rooms, each one richer than the last, and found a comfortable bed with soft blankets. He decided to rest there for the night. In the morning he awoke to find that his old travel clothes had been swapped for a clean suit that fit him well. He looked out the window. The snow had vanished. Instead, he saw sunny paths and beautiful gardens filled with bright flowers and fruit trees. Birds sang on the branches as if it were spring. In the hall, breakfast waited on a small table. He drank hot chocolate and wiped the steam from his mustache. He said aloud, "Some kind fairy must live here. I wish I could thank her." After eating, he went out to find his horse. On his way through the gardens, he saw a rose bush covered with perfect blooms, the color of strawberries and cream. He remembered Beauty's request. The merchant gently picked one rose. At once he heard a terrible roar. A huge figure rushed out from behind the trees. It had sharp teeth, a shaggy mane, bright eyes, and claws like a lion. "You are ungrateful," the creature growled. "I welcomed you to my castle. I gave you food and shelter. You repay me by stealing my roses. I love these roses more than anything. You will die for this." The merchant fell to his knees. His hands shook so much that the rose slipped and dropped into the wet grass. "Please forgive me, my lord," he cried. "I meant no harm. I picked the rose for my youngest daughter. She asked for nothing else." "I am not, my lord," the creature answered. "I am the beast. I do not like flattery. I like truth." The merchant bowed his head. The beast went on. "You say you have daughters. I will spare your life if one of them comes here willingly to take your place. If none comes, you must return here yourself in 3 months. Swear that you will keep your promise." The merchant did not wish to bring his daughters into danger. Still, he wanted to see them one more time. He swore that he would return if none of his daughters came. "Go back to the room where you slept," the beast said. "There is a large empty chest. Fill it with anything you like from my castle. It will arrive at your house before you do. Then go home. The merchant went back inside. In his room he found piles of gold coins. He filled the chest, then closed it with trembling fingers. After he left the castle, his horse found the forest path by itself. By evening he was back at the little farmhouse. His children ran to greet him. Instead of smiling, he held out the rose, then burst into tears. "Beauty," he said, "here is the flower you asked for. You cannot imagine how dear this rose may cost your unhappy father." When he told them his adventure, the older sisters screamed. They blamed Beauty at once. "This is all your fault," they cried. "You asked for a silly rose. We only asked for clothes and jewels. Now father must die because of your foolish wish." Beauty did not cry. She kissed her father and spoke quietly. "Dear father, you shall not go back to the beast. Since he will accept one of your daughters, I will go in your place. I am happy to save your life." Her brothers stepped forward. "We will find the beast and fight him," they said. "Either we will kill him or die trying." Their father shook his head. "My sons, you cannot defeat him. His power is too strong. I am old. I do not have many years left. It is better for me to return." Beauty answered firmly, "You must not go back. You cannot stop me. I will go myself." In their hearts, her sisters were secretly pleased. They hoped never to see her again. That night the merchant discovered the chest from the castle beside his bed. He opened it and gasped when he saw the gold. He told none of his children except Beauty. He feared his older daughters would rush back to the city and forget everything they had learned. Two gentlemen had visited while he was away. They wished to marry the older sisters. Beauty begged her father to agree and to give the men small fortunes from the gold. She was so kind that she forgave her sisters' unkind words. The sisters pretended to cry when Beauty prepared to leave, yet their hearts stayed hard. The brothers were truly sad. Beauty herself did not cry. She did not want to make her father's pain greater. That night Beauty fell into a deep, heavy sleep. In her dream, a tall lady dressed in shining white stood at the foot of her bed. Her eyes were kind and bright like morning stars. "Do not be afraid, Beauty," the lady said. "You have chosen to save your father's life. That choice is brave and good. I will watch over you in the beast's castle. You will not be alone, and in the end you will receive your reward." Beauty tried to ask who she was, but the dream faded like mist. When she woke, she still felt the warmth of that gentle voice in her heart, although she thought it might only be a wish. Beauty climbed on the same horse beside her father. The air felt colder than before. At sunset, the enchanted castle appeared with its shining windows. The horse walked straight into the stable again. Beauty and her father went into the great hall where dinner stood ready with 2 places set. The merchant could hardly eat a bite. Beauty tried to smile and help him to supper. Her own stomach was tight with fear, yet she forced down a few mouthfuls. When the clock struck 9, they heard a heavy sound like distant thunder. The beast entered the hall. Beauty trembled at the sight of him, yet she stood her ground and lifted her chin. "Good evening," he said in his deep voice. "Merchant daughter, did you come here of your own free will?" Beauty took a breath. "Yes," she answered. Her voice wobbled, but she did not run away. "You are very good," the beast said. "You have saved your father. Old man, you shall leave in the morning. Never try to come back here. Farewell." "Farewell, father," Beauty said. "Let me stay instead," he begged. "No," Beauty said in a strong voice. "You must go home. I will trust that something good will come from this." That night they slept in soft beds and fell asleep quickly, although they had believed they would not sleep at all. In the morning the merchant woke at home in his farmhouse bed. The magic of the castle had carried him away. Beauty woke in a beautiful room inside the castle. For a moment she lay very still and remembered the lady from her dream. Perhaps she was real, Beauty whispered. Perhaps someone truly is watching over me here. The thought gave her just enough courage to swing her legs out of bed. Beauty looked around her new room and gasped. A sign above the door read, Beauty's Room. The walls were covered with paintings of forests, mountains, and seas. A closet held gowns in many colors. A harp and a piano stood ready. She found a huge library filled with books that smelled faintly of ink and leather. Her courage grew stronger like a little fire in her chest. She opened a book that lay on a table. On the first page, bright gold letters appeared. Welcome, Beauty. Banish fear. You are queen and mistress here. Speak your wish, speak your will. Every hope I try to fill. Beauty sighed. I wish I could see my poor father and know how he is. When she turned her head, she saw a tall mirror. Instead of her own face, she saw the farmhouse. Her father sat in his chair with tears in his eyes. Her sisters stood behind him. They tried to look sad, yet Beauty could tell they felt secretly glad. One of them even hid a little smile in her handkerchief. In a moment the picture faded. Beauty touched the glass. The beast is not trying to hurt me, she whispered. He wants me to be safe and happy, even if I am afraid of him. At noon she found lunch ready on a table. Soft music floated through the room, although she saw no musicians anywhere. That evening at 9 o'clock, the beast entered as the clock struck. Beauty, he said, will you allow me to sit and watch you eat your supper? As you wish, Beauty answered. Her voice shook only a little. If my presence troubles you, I will go, the beast said. Tell me honestly, do you think I am very ugly? Beauty looked at him. Yes, she said, you look quite frightening, yet I believe you have a kind heart. You are right, the beast said. My heart is good, yet I know I am stupid and dull. If you think about your faults, you are not foolish, Beauty replied. Fools never know that they are foolish. Eat your supper, Beauty, the beast said. This castle is yours. Everything here belongs to you. I will only be happy if you are happy. You are very generous, she answered. Every evening was the same. The beast visited her at 9. He asked simple questions. He listened to her talk about books and music. Sometimes he tried a little joke and looked worried until she laughed. His words were plain yet honest. Beauty began to enjoy his visits and to listen for his heavy footsteps in the hallway. Only one thing troubled her. Each night before he left, he asked, Beauty, will you marry me? Every time she answered, No, beast. He would sigh deeply, then wish her good night. She felt more and more sorry for him. 3 months passed. Beauty had grown used to the beast's strange face. She found that she looked forward to 9 o'clock. Still, she worried about her father. Each night the beast said, Promise me you will never leave me. One evening she answered, I wish I could promise that. You are my dear friend. I am grateful for your kindness, yet I miss my father so much. I fear I will die of sadness if I never see him. The beast lowered his head. I would rather die myself than see you unhappy, he said. You may visit your father. You have seen in the mirror that your sisters are married and your brothers are away. Your father is alone. Stay with him for 1 week. After that you must come back. If you do not return in 7 days, I will surely die of grief. Beauty began to cry. I give you my word I will come back in a week, she said. Tomorrow morning you will wake up at your father's house, said the beast. Tonight, before you sleep, Take off your ring and put it on the table by your bed. Whenever you want to come back to my castle, do the same thing, and the magic will bring you to me." That night, Beauty laid the ring on her bedside table. In the morning, she woke in her old room at the farmhouse. Her father rushed in. They hugged for a very long time. He could not stop thanking the Beast for sending her home. Soon a maid ran in and announced that a huge trunk had appeared. Inside were beautiful gowns and jewelry. Beauty chose one simple dress for herself. She planned to give the other gowns to her sisters. As soon as she said this, the trunk vanished. Her father smiled. "The Beast wants you to keep them," he said. The trunk appeared again at once. Beauty laughed. She thanked the Beast in her heart for hearing even her thoughts. Beauty's sisters arrived with their husbands. Their lives were not happy. The oldest had married a handsome man who loved only himself. He admired his own reflection all day and hardly spoke to his wife. The second had married a clever man who used his sharp tongue to tease and hurt everyone, especially his wife. When they saw Beauty dressed like a princess, they felt sick with envy. They listened while she told them about the castle and about the Beast's kindness. Her gentle words did not soften their hearts. Afterwards, they walked in the garden alone. "Why should she be happy while we are miserable?" the oldest said. "We must find a way to ruin her good fortune." The second answered, "If she stays longer than a week, perhaps the Beast will be angry and eat her. Then we will never have to see her again." "That is a wicked idea," the first said, "yet I like it." So they pretended to be loving sisters. They hugged Beauty. They told her they had missed her so much. They begged her to stay a little longer. Beauty's kind heart believed their sweet words. When the week ended, they cried loudly and claimed they could not bear to part from her. Beauty forgot how quickly time could slip by when she felt safe with her father, and promised to stay one more week. During the second week, Beauty often thought of the Beast. Each night she promised herself she would return soon. On the 10th night she had a terrible dream. She saw the Beast lying on the grass beside a garden pond. His eyes were closed, his body was still. She heard his voice whisper, "Beauty, you forgot your promise. You have broken my heart." Beauty woke with a cry. "How cruel I have been," she said. "The Beast is not handsome or clever, yet he is kind and patient. My sisters' husbands are good-looking and witty, yet they are selfish and unkind. It is not a lovely face or a sharp mind that makes a good husband. It is goodness and gentleness. The Beast has those qualities. I thought I only felt friendship for him, yet my heart hurts when I think he may die. That means I love him. I must go back." As she spoke, she remembered again the shining lady from her first dream, and how she had promised that Beauty would not be alone. "Help me keep my promise," Beauty whispered into the dark, "and I will do what is right." She jumped out of bed, put the magic ring on her table, then lay down again. As soon as she closed her eyes, she fell into a deep sleep. In the morning she awoke in her room at the castle. She dressed in the finest gown she could find. She wanted to please the Beast and beg his forgiveness. All day she waited for 9 o'clock. The hour came, yet the Beast did not appear. Fear rose in her chest. She ran through every room calling his name. No answer. At last she remembered her dream and rushed to the garden pond. There on the grass lay the Beast. His eyes were shut, his breathing was thin and faint. Beauty fell to her knees beside him. She poured water on his face. At last she felt a small beat in his chest. "Oh, Beast," she cried, "please do not die. It is my fault. I broke my promise. From this moment I will be your wife. I thought I only had friendship for you, yet I see now that I truly love you. I cannot live without you. As soon as Beauty spoke those words, the sky above the castle filled with light, and the ground shook a little under Beauty's feet. She turned back to the Beast, yet he was gone. In his place stood a young man with kind eyes and dark hair. "Do not be afraid," he said. "I am your Beast." Beauty stepped back in surprise. "Where is my dear Beast?" she demanded. "You see him before you," the prince answered. "A wicked fairy cast a spell on me. She changed me into a monster. I could only become myself again if a kind and brave girl agreed to marry me. Not for my looks, only for my heart. You are the only one in the world who was generous enough to love me this way." Beauty smiled through the tears. Her heart felt light and strange, like a bird learning how to fly. She gave him her hand. Together they walked back toward the castle, which now shone brighter than ever. Inside the great hall, Beauty saw her father, her brothers, and her sisters. Beside them stood a beautiful lady dressed in shining white. Beauty recognized her as the lady she had seen once before in a dream. "Beauty," the lady said, "I am the fairy who has watched over you. You chose kindness instead of pride. You looked past the beast's ugly face and saw his good heart. For this you deserve great happiness. You will be a queen. I hope power will never make you proud." The fairy turned to Beauty's sisters. "As for you two," she said, "I know your hearts. You are lazy, vain, and cruel. You were jealous when your sister was happy, and you wished to destroy her joy. You will become statues at the gate of this castle. You will be able to see and hear, yet you will not move until your hearts change. Only when you truly repent and admit your faults will you become women again." The fairy waved her wand. The sisters turned into stone statues at once. Then, with another wave, the fairy changed the enchanted castle into the prince's royal palace, shining with banners and full of joyful people. The people welcomed their prince and his new bride with cheers so loud that birds lifted from the rooftops. On that very day, Beauty and the prince were married in a great celebration, filled with music, flowers, and feasting. Beauty brought her father to live with them. Her brothers served the prince with honor. The sisters stood at the gate for many years. Some say that at last they learned to be humble and kind. Some say they did not. As for Beauty and the prince, they ruled their kingdom with happiness, wisdom, and love. The moral of this story: do not judge by looks alone. A kind heart is worth more than beauty or riches, and keeping your promises brings rewards no magic can match. Sweet dreams.